The discussion of the definite integrals turns to the familiar problem of the approximation of the area under a function. A natural question is how the approximation could be done effectively. Riemann first answered this question for bounded function defined on closed interval. The process to determine a definite integral is known as Riemann integration. There is main headlines which we will deal in this presentation. First of all, we give definition of integrable function, bounded function, partition of a closed interval, upper and lower Riemann sums of a bounded function defined on a closed interval, a refinement of a given partition, upper and lower Riemann integral, Riemann integrable function, and finally we will give an example of a bounded function which is not Riemann integrable. First we give definition of definite integral. One can see that a function which is bounded, which is defined on this interval, closed interval, real valued function. We define integral of this function, definite integral of this function by this fx dx and integration from a to b, and these there are dx is known as a differential coefficient or differential of the variable x, fx is called the integrand, and a and b are respectively known as lower and upper limits of the integral. When we drop these limits, then this integral becomes indefinite integral. A function f is said to be integrable on interval ab if the integral exists. So this integral exist means this is a real number, a finite real number. If we have such a situation when this integral has a finite value, then f is said to be integrable function. First we consider bounded function. In process of defining Riemann integration, Riemann integral, we need bounded function. First condition, function should be bounded. Okay, so if we consider a function defined on a closed interval which is bounded, then there is a positive real number k can be taken such that the function, all values of the function satisfying this condition, fx absolute value of function cannot exceeds from that real number. Since function is bounded on a closed interval ab, so it is bounded above as well as bounded below, and therefore by Bolzano-Weierstrass theorem, function has greatest lower bound as well as least upper bound. So a real number L is called the least upper bound of the function if first of all the number L is upper bound, and if for each epsilon greater than 0, L minus epsilon is not an upper bound. It means that there exists a point x star in the interval such that the value of fx at that point will exceed from L minus epsilon. In same way, we can define greatest lower bound. The first of all, this is a lower bound, g is a lower bound. It means all values of functions exceeds from this real number g, and if we add however small quantity epsilon in it, then there exists a point in this interval, the value at that point will be less than g plus epsilon. So there are some example of bounded and unbounded functions. These are well known. Partition of a closed interval. In Riemann integration, we use to define partition of a closed interval, and function since bounded in that interval, so it will be bounded in subinterval also, and that idea will be used to define lower sum and upper sum, and hence lower integral and upper integral. So first of all, we see about a partition of a closed interval. An ordered set P containing these n plus 1 element is said to be partition of AB into n non-overlapping subintervals xi minus 1 xi, where xi is greater than xi minus 1, such that we can see in this graph here, where this is x naught point, there is xn point, x naught is a and this is b, and we are dividing this interval into sub interval xi minus 1 xi. So there is a point x1 x2 xi minus 1 xi and xn. And the length of sub intervals is denoted by delta I, and delta I, we can see that this partition may be different, may be of different length. So there may be the largest value amongst these delta I. This largest value is known as norm of the partition. So norm of a partition P means that the maximum value of delta I. Lower sum and upper sum, now we see function is bounded here in defined in a closed interval, and there is a partition, and since function is bounded in closed interval AB, then it will be bounded in their subintervals xi minus 1 xi for all I, and therefore there exists a greatest lower bound as well as least upper bound of the function in that interval. So we can assume small mi is a greatest lower bound of function, and capital Mi is the least upper bound of the function. So now we define Riemann sum, lower sum and upper sum. It is very easy to define. Now we take Mi, the greatest lower bound of f in this interval xi minus 1 xi, and if we multiply delta I with it and adding all these values m1 delta 1 plus m2 delta 2 plus mn delta n, then we will get a real number, and that real number is known as LF, denoted by LFP, and known as lower sum or Riemann lower sum. Similar way, corresponding to the maximum value Mi, least upper bound of f on this interval, corresponding to this value, we can define another real number m1 delta 1 plus m2 delta 2 plus mn delta n, where mi's are capitals in are the least upper bound. So corresponding to this value, we will get upper sum. There is a very simple consequence. Lower sum cannot exceed upper sum. This can be seen from here. We know that Mi is always less than equal to capital Mi, and delta I is greater than equal to 0. So if you multiply delta I both sides and taking some summation from I is 1 to n, then you will left side you will get lower sum, and in this inequality right side you will get upper sum. So for every bounded function defined on a closed interval and P is a partition of AB, then lower sum always less than equal upper sum for any partition P. Now we here present idea of estimation of area under a given function. So first we take a system, coordinate system x, y, and we taking 4 point on it. So we can assume that this is an interval x naught to x4, and x naught, x1, x2, x3, x4 are partition of these interval in 4 equal parts, and this is a function Okay, we can divide this region in uh, squares, unit squares, and after dividing this, we may further add some points if we require, like J1, J2, J3, J4, and this is we can make vertical lines connect to this curve. Okay, now we see that we can estimate this area under the curve by counting squares. Now you see here 7 squares are complete, and there are some rectangles. You can see here these are rectangles, so this is a lower sum of corresponding to this partition. Now further we can divide this subinterval into another two subintervals, adding some points. So if we take xi1 between these 2 points, and in this way xi2, xi3, xi4, if we take these points, then we have a more points which was not in previous partition, and corresponding to these point we can have some additional area that can be added to this previous area, and the next area, the resulting area, is greater than the previous one. And in this way further we can partition, you can see in red dots, and we can add more rectangles to increase the area which is counted in this manner. Now we have seen that if we have a given partition and we compute lower sum corresponding to this partition, and if we take another partition which is larger than the given partition and we compute lower sum corresponding to that new partition, that area will be more closer than exact area. So therefore there is a role of partition refinement is there, so, to make lower sum to exact area, lower sums approaches to exact area for that partition. So we consider refinement of a partition. P is a partition of the interval AB. A partition Q of AB is called a refinement of P if Q contains all points of P. It means that we can consider a partition which contains all points of P, but it may contains more point than P. In this situation we say that Q is a proper refinement of P. So it can be seen that by definition of norm, if norm of a new partition means refinement of P is lesser than the norm of P, it is simple consequence to observe that lower sum of the lower sum of any refinement cannot exceed upper sum of a given partition. So for any partition PQ, we can say that lower sum cannot exceed upper sum of a partition. For any Q, there exists P such that LFQ less than UFP, means upper sums always greater than lower sum for any partition P. This is the dominating property, and this is another property which is more important for to define lower integral. This property says that if Q is a refinement of P, then the lower sum corresponding to Q will be larger than the lower sum corresponding to P. So this gives an increasing order corresponding to every refinement. If we refine a partition, then we will get a lower sum which will be greater than the previous one, as we have discussed in previous estimation of area. And in case of upper sum, this is a reverse situation. When we will take partition p and its refinement q, then upper sum of refinement will be lesser than the upper sum of the partition. This decreasing property, and that will be useful to define upper integral. This is the variation of lower sum and upper sum corresponding to refinement. So in this previous case we have seen that lower sum of a partition P is less than equal lower sum of a refinement Q, but here lower sum of a refinement Q is cannot exceed from these two numbers. Similarly, upper sum will be corresponding to the partition will be greater than of upper sum corresponding to partition P minus 2 norm of P into K, where K is a positive real number satisfying this condition. Let PAB be the collection of all partition P on AB. So now we can consider a partition P with n subintervals. So corresponding to this partition we will find upper sum as well as lower sum, as we know that for each partition there is a upper sum of a function can be obtained and lower sum can be obtained. So if we take a partition P with n subinterval, then there will be upper sum and lower sum corresponding to that partition and depending upon n. So in this way we can assume U, LFP and LFP as a sequence in n, and this sequence is bounded. You see here LFP less than equal UFP, and this is less than equal this number and this number. So or we can say that lower sum is always bounded above by upper sum, and upper sum always bounded below by a lower sum. Now we consider sequence of upper sum. So as from the previous discussion, upper sum, if we take upper sums of two partition and one partition is refinement of the previous one, in this case the upper sum of the refinement will be lesser than the upper sum of the partition P. So in this case you see that if we refine, we get finer partition, then the sequence decreases, and therefore this is a monotonic decreasing sequence and which is bounded below by the infimum. We know that by Bolzano-Weierstrass theorem it has infimum, so bounded below by infimum. And similarly we have seen that lower sum sequence will monotonically increasing and it is bounded above by the supremum. So by monotone convergence theorem, this collection converges to infimum, and this collection of lower sum will converges to supremum. So if this collection of upper sum converges to UF, that is infimum of this collection, as it is bounded below, so we can take infimum of it and it will converges to its infimum UF. And similarly LFP is monotonic increasing and it will converges to its least upper bound supremum LF as n tends to infinity or norm of P tends to 0. So in this way we can write, because LFP is a function of depending upon the partition number of partition n, and as n tends to infinity norm tends to 0. So we can write this lower sum in limiting situation. For practical purposes this situation is more useful. On the basis of previous discussion, we can now define upper and lower integrals. The infimum of this collection of upper sum is called the upper integral, and the supreme of the collection of lower sum is called the lower integral, and it is denoted by this integral. You can see this is the integral from a to b fx dx, and this also integral from a to b fx dx, and we are making different by mentioning some bar here, b bar here, for infimum of upper sum, and for supremum of lower sum we taking a bar here below a bar, under bar. So this is so underline a underline. So these are two real number where the sequence of upper sum converges to this real number, and sequence of lower sum converges to this real number. So many practical situation we use this notation. The LFP, we take a partition P having n partition, and we determine LFP in terms of n, and we takes limit n tends to infinity or norm of p tends to 0, both are same thing, and the limiting situation is lower integral, and similarly this limiting situation is upper integral. Now we have an example. See, this function fx is 2x plus 5. It's a linear function, linear polynomial, linear function defined on interval 1 3. Clearly it is bounded because its value lying between 7 to 11, so it is a bounded function. So we can define partition with n non-overlapping equal length subinterval. Here note that we are taking equal length subinterval, and partitions are given in the form of subinterval where xi minus 1 xi equal this. So this is xi, you see here xi. So determination of xi is very easy. See that there is x naught is 1, and x1 is length plus 1. So what is the length of this partition? Length of this partition remains same for every subinterval. So length will be the difference of this points divided by n, because length of the whole interval is 2 and it is further divided into n equal parts, so length will be 2 by n. So the first point is 1, and second point is 1 plus 2 by n, and third point will be that is x2 will be 1 plus 4 by n, and in same way we can find xi 2in. In this way we can find the subinterval. So after obtaining this subinterval with equal length 2 by n, and you see that 2 by n tends to 0 as n tends to infinity. Now we in order to determine lower sum and upper sum, we need to determine minimum value, or you can say that greatest lower bound and least upper bound of the function within this subinterval. So mi is the greatest lower bound, and that will appear corresponding to the smallest value of this interval, because function is monotonic increasing, and this smallest value, the greatest lower bound, is 4i minus 1 by n plus 7, and the capital Mi, the least upper bound, will correspond the largest value of this subinterval xi, and this is 4i n plus 7. Therefore we have upper sum. As you know that summation I from 1 to n delta I mi. If you substitute delta I here, mi here, and if you multiply with this and apply some formula summation I from 1 to n, then you will have this sum, upper sum, and as you apply limit n tends to infinity, you will find that limit of upper sum is 18. Similarly, you can find limit of lower sum is also 18, and in this way you find lower integral as well as upper integral equals 18, and hence the exact integral is 18 here. So this example shows that showing the idea of Riemann, and it is the process is Riemann integration, in which a bounded function can be obtained using the partition and determining the greatest lower bound and least upper bound of the function within each subinterval of the partition, and after applying limit we will get lower integral as well as upper integral. Function is bounded, then it is not necessarily that the lower integral is equal to upper integral. But we have this situation, lower integral always less than equal upper integral. It is due to the connection of lower sum with upper sum. So it is a simple consequence of lower sum and upper sum. So we define now Riemann integrable function. So a function is said, a bounded function is said to be Riemann integrable if lower integral as well as upper integral both exist and are equal. In this case we say that if they are equal, in this case function is said to be Riemann integrable, and we simply write this integral a to b fx dx exists, and the common value of lower integral or upper integral will be written as, after relaxing this symbol, a under bar and b over bar. Riemann integrable function, from the definition, for each epsilon greater than 0 there exists a partition P of AB such that this because this is the least upper bound of all lower sum. So this is the least upper bound of all lower sum. Then if you take something out of this least upper bound, then by definition of least upper bound there must exist a partition P. The lower sum of that partition will exceed from that. In same way we can find this is the greatest lower bound, and if you add something however small quantity in it, then there exists a partition, the same partition. For the same partition we can say upper sum will be less than by this particular real number. So using this UFP minus LFP, then you will have this situation. So this is interesting situation. You have already seen that if function is Riemann integrable, then this quantity equal to this quantity, lower upper integral will be lower integral, and in this case this quantity becomes 0, and therefore UFP minus LFP less than epsilon. So it shows that if function is Riemann integrable on the interval AB, a bounded function which is Riemann integrable on the closed interval AB, then there exists a partition P such that the difference of upper sum minus lower sum becomes however small, means they are mathematically very close. So this is another criteria we can see here. A function f is defined on a closed interval is Riemann integrable if and only if f is bounded on AB, and for every epsilon greater than 0 there exists a partition P. For this partition the difference of upper sum and lower sum is less than epsilon, means however small difference between them. So the idea was very clear from the partition, and we mean to say that when lower sum increases and upper sum decreases, so it means that there will be a partition when the lower sum has increased and upper sum has decreased and they are about to coincide. So this is a very interesting definition. So finally we give an example of a bounded function which is not integral exist, but they are different, and in this way we will determine here lower integral and upper integral for this function, and we will find that they are not equal. So for this we shall show that there is a partition. So we define a partition with n subinterval for which the upper sum and lower sum do not converge to the same limit as n approaches to 0. So we see how it happens. So since this is a partition and this is a subinterval, and every these two different real number, and we know that between two different real number there lies infinite many rational number as well as irrational number. So corresponding to rational number the function will attain value 0, and corresponding to irrational number function will have value 1. So it will be true for every subinterval. So in these n subinterval, the m1, m2, mn is values of mi's are 0 and value of capital mi's are 1, and therefore the lower sum, because it is a sum of mi delta I from I is 1 to n, and it will be 0, and this will be the summation of delta I, and this is b minus a. So finally you see that it is true for every partition. It will be true for every partition. P was arbitrary taken partition, and it is true for every partition. The lower sum will be 0 and upper sum will be b minus a and b are different real number. So upper sum cannot be 0, however lower sum is 0. So the sequence of lower sum which is convergent and converges to 0, however the sequence of upper sum which converges to b minus a. It means that lower integral is 0 and upper integral is b minus a. So we can conclude that a bounded function defined on a closed interval may not be Riemann integrable, as we have seen. Further we will study in our next lecture Riemann sum, necessary and sufficient conditions for an integrable function defined on a closed interval. As we have seen one condition for a partition P, this will be done for every partition P whose norms is less than delta, where delta is a real number. So also we will discuss some special functions, continuous and monotonic function, and we will check the integrability conditions of these functions. And these are the books are useful for this topic. Thank you.